Hey, hello everyone, I'm David Guerrero and welcome back to another video here on Many Ways Films. I'm in the middle of a parking lot just by myself. There's not really much people around. The reason that I'm making this video this way is because I had already planned that whole thing and the time and how it was gonna be, and in the end I forgot my tripod. So this is what I'm doing right now, which is fine because a lot of what you're gonna see is video sample. I don't know if I should put the wind thing. Maybe I should, just in case. 1 second. Okay, so I don't know if there's a difference. If you hear a difference, let me know. With the wind, I'm gonna put the dead cat on. Let me know if it's better. It should be better because I think it's kind of windy right now. Okay, I don't have a lot of time before the sun is gone. In this video, I'm gonna be talking about my experience with the Cam M4. It's a little bit windy right now, like I said. I'm gonna talk about my experience with the Cam M4, which has been a year or more. I have used it plenty for plenty of different types of videos, and I want to talk about the things that I like and dislike, and why I think this is a great camera, or why I think this is not the greatest camera for certain types of videos. And I want to just start right away. The first thing that you're gonna obviously notice is that the video quality is really good. When it comes to 4K, sharpness or look of the video is gonna be really nice. I'm not too happy about the colors, but that could also be my fault. It doesn't matter if I shoot on log or raw or flat, like ProRes. I mean, it's just not, I don't get the best colors. Again, that is a lot of user error. I'm not the greatest color grader, so if you're not and you just have a little bit of practice with it, this could also be a really good camera to get to learn those things, to learn how to do your color grading and all of that. But if you don't care about those things and you don't want to learn color grading, you can always shoot in like ProRes, and that's gonna be fine. You're gonna still get a lot of dynamic range, but be aware that it's not gonna give you the most beautiful colors. It's gonna give you still a pretty flat color, but again, a little bit of contrast, a little bit of saturation, vibrant colors. It's gonna do the job, but you're gonna have to still learn more than that and do some actual color grading. Put my phone in there, and that works well too. At least we feel like we're much closer to each other this way. I'm using a pretty wide lens. This is a micro four thirds sensor, which means that it's a pretty small sensor. It's about this big. It's like a square. It's just like that big. So in order to get pretty wide angle, you have to get pretty wide. So this is a 12mm lens, micro four thirds lens. Is the Mikey 12mm 2.8, and I really like this lens. It does the job. I mean, for the price, I think that you're getting more than what it actually costs. But going back to the camera, this camera, when I bought it, it was $1,500. I don't know if it's the same price right now. Again, it's been a year since I got it, and I'm gonna be leaving you the price here as well. I got it on Amazon, and it works fine. I'm gonna put like the seller that I got it from just in case, because I mean, I got it in very well shape, just new, and it's worked fine. I haven't had any problems with it, never have it heat. One of the things that I have had is the memory card, the CFast 2.0. It has heat many times, not all the time, just like when it's hot, and it stops recording. So you are gonna have to either get another memory card or use like an external drive in order to record. That's always a really good option, but you also have to be very thoughtful of the cables that you're using, because sometimes touching the cable can make you lose frames, or messed up with your video. Another thing that I'm not such a big fan about this camera is the sound. No matter which microphone I use, I mostly have used Rode microphones with this camera. If it's the Rode Go, the Rode Go 2, the Rode Mic Pro, and they sound fine. They just don't sound amazing. They don't sound how they should sound. Even my Nikon mirrorless C camera, which it's not known for having good preamps or like getting like good sound when you're plugging a microphone, makes a much better job than this camera. Sorry. When it comes to dynamic range, you're gonna get a lot of dynamic range. I think it's 12 to 14 stops of dynamic range. I'm gonna be leaving it down here anyway, but it's a pretty good amount. You get really nice highlights while still preserving very well the shadows, and it just looks good. You get a really nice balanced image. So I'm always really happy when it comes to dynamic range. I mean, it's not like super high, but still having those 12 to 14, it's really nice. You can record 10 up to 12 bit with this camera, which again, that's a lot. I record 8 bit with my Nikon camera, and I think that looks just fine. But having that 10 up to 12, that's really nice. This is one of your options when it comes to getting your first camera and you're thinking about getting a DSLR, a mirrorless, or a cinema camera. This is an option that I would totally recommend, but you have to consider how much you're gonna be able to use this camera. And what I mean by that is that it is a heavy camera. It doesn't have a really good handling. It's just a square. Everybody's gonna notice right now while I'm recording this, people just see this giant, well, it's not giant, but like this square with, like the monitor and everything, and they think like what is this guy doing? Like, what is he doing with that big camera? Because in the end, even that it's a small square, it looks pretty big compared to any other camera, and people look at it like it makes you look to the camera. So that, plus carrying it around, it could be kind of weird. Again, you're gonna get tired pretty quick, at least I do. So you're gonna have to consider that. If this is your first camera, I would totally recommend getting something for the same price range on the mirrorless kind of cameras. That's gonna be much better. If this is your secondary camera, or you're just planning to go straight ahead and do like short films and all of that, and you want to have the best image quality, then I would recommend this camera a lot. The nice thing about having a Micro Four Thirds sensor, I guess, that you can get a really wide range of lenses. I mean, anything from vintage Nikon, Canon lenses, Micro Four Thirds, anything of the DSLR era, you're gonna be able to use those lenses. But have in mind, most of the time you're gonna have to, if not always, you're gonna have to make sure that those lenses are manual, because some DSLR lenses, they have like this aperture that you can only control in the camera, so you're gonna have like a really small aperture, or you're not gonna be able to use the lens at all. So that's something that I would recommend. If you got this camera, you're gonna have to do manual lenses, manual focusing for everything. I know that this camera can do some sort of autofocus, but I'm gonna try sometime and I'm gonna show you. But from what I've seen, it's not recommended to use. And to finish, I'm gonna mention that this camera has a double native ISO, which is 500 and 2500, and you get really nice image on those two. I would always recommend to use those, but right now I'm only using 800 ISO. And if you're just gonna do video like this, just talking to the camera, you can always record in H.265, which is a more compressed file. I also have in mind that you have the right equipment, meaning a computer that can handle it. Going back to the very beginning and talking about image quality and all of that, I wanna mention that you can record in slow motion with this camera, like really slow motion. I think it's up to, well, 150 or 160 frames per second in 4K. And then you can only record like 240 frames per second in full HD in 1080, which is really good. A lot of people criticize the 1080 out of this camera. I don't. I think it looks pretty fine, and I actually like how it looks. It looks it gives you like this more like an older camera, like a 2010 camera that has like really high HD and it's not 4K. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like that kind of image that you get. So it's just a really nice feature that this camera has. And then you have like different image profiles. I'm gonna be putting right here all the image profiles that you have for this camera, and then all the options for like codecs that you can record for this camera, like H.264, H.265, ProRes, Light, regular ProRes, or like ProRes high quality, and then RAW, and those are like really nice. It's up to you, like what you want to do with this camera, but you have a lot of options, and in the end it's a great camera. It's really good, no complaints about this camera. The only thing that I'm gonna say again is that you're not gonna be able to use this camera everywhere you go. It's a big camera, awkward if you have a monitor that's gonna take extra batteries and they run out of power real quick. The camera handles battery very well. You just use those like Sony batteries and you can have like plenty of battery life. I think it's like 3-4 hours of like recording. I mean, if you're like on and off and all of that, if you're constantly recording, I think it's like 2 hours or something like that, which is still pretty good. Again, if you just want to have the best image quality, you want to have like slow motion and, you know, just like a cool looking video, this is that camera. And $1,500, it's a really nice price range, better than more expensive cameras can do. So you're gonna be the judge at the end. You can see the footage, all what I've shown you, and you're gonna take the decision in the end. If you have any questions, just let me know down here in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya.